Hi, everybody. This is David Lombardo from Musical Dark Horse. You can check us out online at my name, davidlombardo.com. My company, Musical Dark Horse, is an internet search engine optimization and social media promotion company that specializes in all forms of entertainment. And you might be wondering, what does that even mean? So I'll kind of break that down for you today, kind of give you a little bit of an insight as to what we do and how it works, and hopefully convince you that this is a very, very good idea for anyone to do. And it's all very organic and real, and it will help you in your quest to do whatever you want to do in terms of marketing your music specifically. Musical Dark Horse is mostly music. We have dabbled with some other forms, video and whatnot, but essentially it's mostly music. I think that understanding the product is one of the most important things you could ever do when it comes to any type of marketing. This is before the internet, this is before computers, this is just classic marketing stuff. You got to understand what you're trying to sell. In your case, you're probably looking to get your music out there. I can't blame you. That's probably what you want to do for your living, right? You want people to listen to your music, the whole bit. I myself am a musician. This company I own kind of evolved as a love of the massive power of the internet in combination with the music that I was performing with bands and stuff. And it kind of evolved as out of a necessity almost. There was not a very good way to get our band popular on the internet. Now, I am not suggesting you should want to try to become the next Justin Bieber, or you should want to try to make the next Gangnam Style video. But I am suggesting the fact that the internet is undoubtedly very, very powerful, and while it created these people's careers, it may help you boost your real career in terms of music and what you want to do with it. So before we even go any further, and I'm going to stop rambling and show you what I do here, I just want you to know that there is something overwhelmingly extremely important with any type of marketing, any type of SEO. And that is the fact that you need to know who your demographic is. You need to know, in other words, who your target audience is. We get about 500 emails a week, and most of those emails I respond back by saying, what is your target audience? What is your goal? What are you trying to do with this? I mean, if you don't have that in mind, and it's okay, a lot of people don't, I'm asking you to please just pause this right now, get out a pen and paper or open up Notepad and just write it down. What is your goal? Who are your demographic, in other words? What? Is it a person? Is it a type of person? Is it an age group? It doesn't necessarily have to be very specific. You could say, I want to target all, men ages 18 through 65 who live in the United States and like ZZ Top, or it could be extremely specific. I want to target blonde-haired 21-year-old girls living in Southern California who like Brad Paisley. And I don't know. Just think of something that you would like to target in your demographic search. Because if you don't, there will be a lot of shooting at nothing, so to speak. And let me tell you, there is a lot of nothing on the internet, as we will learn very shortly. But with that in mind, if you have your goals written down and you have your target demographic, we can begin. Okay, so this is Google. Let's sit in the captain's chair. Okay, obviously a very powerful site. Okay, you've probably seen this before, I really hope. We're going to type in something really dumb. My favorite thing in the world, coffee. And it returns all of these searches. Now I'm going to kind of explain this relatively quickly. This is the main search results, as you probably know. Over here is the ad section. These are all revenue ads. Google has a thing called Adwords. You may have been familiar with that. It's their main source of revenue. I'm going to not really be talking too much about AdWords during this because AdWords are a different type of marketing. They are a lot of times pay per click or pay per lead or pay PM, whatever it is. You're paying for something to promote. Now, of course, we are a for-profit company, but the point is I'm trying to build organic, real search results to help you, not so much the pay-per-click stuff. Having said that, it's sometimes a good idea. So it might be best to look into other ways to promote as well as the way I'm going to be telling you, and I'll be explaining that a little bit later. Down here is the local searches. Obviously, if you can tell, I'm in Albany, New York, or outside of it, rather, and this is the kind of cute little map. But these are the real meat and potatoes of what we're trying to do, the main search results. Now, the first result is Wikipedia Coffee. Wikipedia, obviously, you probably know, is an open source encyclopedia, which means that you come and go as you please. Generally speaking, anyone can edit it, and there are a ton of sites that link to it, probably more than any other site on the internet, and for that reason, it's number one. I'm not really going to be talking much about trying to get to number one for the name coffee. Obviously, you're a little bit delusional if you think you're going to do that in one simple sweep. But, having said that, these companies certainly were able to do it. Now, you have Green Mountain Coffee and Starbucks Coffee. If I asked a group in a lecture, who do you think is number one on Google? Green Mountain Coffee with their K-Cups or Starbucks Coffee? And I've done this before, and overwhelmingly, almost everybody says Starbucks is going to be number one. And you're actually wrong. Starbucks is number two. Why is that the case? I'm going to show you something very, very nifty you can do. This is the URL, of course. And if we select that and copy it, and I go up to here and type link, we can do, always use quotes, always a good idea. This will essentially return what, you can actually, it's really, really picky. You can do a space there. There we go. It will return all the results that link to greenmountaincoffee.com. There's 444,000 sites that link back to Green Mountain Coffee. A lot of times in the context of search engine optimization, that site that you're targeting is called the money site. So in other words, Green Mountain Coffee is our money site. Imagine if we own that company, we want to have as many link backs as possible because after all, that means our site is more popular and will rank higher on Google. 444,000 results. Okay, that's a pretty huge number. I'd be pretty happy if my band had 444,000 results linking back to it. But now let's look up our friendly Starbucks. Now before I even hit enter, you probably assume that there is a lot less because after all it's ranked underneath it. You would be wrong. You would be very wrong actually. There's over 9 million results that link back to Starbucks coffee. So at this point, if you're following me, you're probably thinking, what the hell is going on, right? Why is Starbucks coffee, obviously a huge company, why is it ranked underneath this Green Mountain Coffee K-Cup stuff? The answer lies in what is known as a page rank. Now, a page rank is essentially, it describes the Google algorithm, really, but how Google ranks certain pages depending on a bunch of different factors. In other words, some pages are worth more than others to the search engine. Now, this Wikipedia page I have open is going to get way out of the scope of what I'm describing, but for all you geeks out there like me, you may enjoy looking at some of this stuff. This is the actual algorithms, or so they claim, of how it ranks pages. But for all we really care about today, we're just going to be looking at this simple graph here. I like this quite a bit. So this basically breaks down, or breaks my whole screen, how the sites are ranked. You have these little purple guys down here, which could be like a blog or some personal site, right? Linking to E, which maybe would be a news site or something like that. F and D and A, and these are all kind of small sites that aren't ranked very high. But look at B. Holy mama, that's a big site, right? That could be like your Amazon or New York Times or a government agency website or something worth a ton of value to the search engine and C as well. So you see, certain sites are ranked more in Google. Google does not rank everything equally, and after all, it probably shouldn't. If you have a Fortune 500 company named Teddy Bears Incorporated, and you have a small mom and pop store in the middle of Minnesota called Teddy Bears Incorporated, should they honestly be ranked equal? Probably not. And that's what Google tries to do, because more people would be looking for the big company. Getting back to our little coffee experiment, the reason why Starbucks is ranked lower is because while it has more links, they're not worth as much to the search engine as the K-Cup links. And that in itself is the very heart and soul of what I'm trying to describe. K-cups are a new thing. They're hot. Everyone wants them. They're cool. I've seen them. Whatever, you know. And for that reason, they're all over the news. They're all over the sales. They're in everything you see. Everyone's trying to save, save, save. Buy these things. Buy them in bulk. So there's a lot of very relevant sites right now linking to Green Mountain Coffee. Starbucks, they're not, I mean, obviously they're a growing company, but like, what are they doing differently these days than they've done in the past 20 years? Exactly. Relevance on the internet is huge. So, to summarize that, links are not created equally. There are certain links, obviously, that are worth a lot more to the search engine. If you're following me so far, you might begin to ask yourself then, how do I get these high quality links? And that, my friend, is the money question, so to speak. Well, the answer is basically in extreme link building. And that is what my company does. We help submit your site to thousands of directories and links and things that can help your company basically make it onto that front page of Google. So let me describe in this next section how we do that. So now that we've kind of described a little bit about how Google does rank sites, I'm going to kind of describe to you how I can help your band or artist page reach that same type of result. As I said in the beginning, it's obviously very important to have a demographic. And this demographic we're going to use to try and find good keywords to rank your site with. That's kind of the goal here. If I was going to look up something, a product, like we looked up coffee, if I was going to look up band or a band in your area, one of the first things you might type in is the city that you're in. So I'm up here in Albany, New York. So if I type in Albany, New York rock band, let's just say, I'm going to get a bunch of weird stuff here because as I had expected, nobody's done this. Nobody's ranked for that keyword, or that phrase, I should say. It's a phrase of keywords. Albany, New York rock band. The first page is a generic page, gigmasters.com, which is one of these sites that's paid massive amounts of money to rank highly, and I can't really blame them. They're looking for profit as well as everybody else. So they've paid to get up there. But looking at the organic searches here, this is a sitting duck. As I'm explaining this to you, I'm getting excited here because I see so much opportunity in this search. This is like, we could pillage this search. Albany, New York rock band. There's no bands I see in the front page. There's maybe one right here. The Steppin' Out Rocks. And good for these guys because they were able to get to page number 1, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. Ideally number 1, not page number 1, but we'll see what we can do. So with this said, that would be if I was trying to target people in Albany, New York who liked rock music. We all know that a lot of people like rock music, so that might not be the best keyword. But I want to show you something that's free. It works awesome. It's called the Google Keyword Tool. And a lot of people are familiar with this. It's really one of the holy grails of internet promotion. You type in the word or phrase you want to try to rank for. Now, I'm going to use my company as an example because obviously I'm well aware of how we rank. I've worked hard on trying to get our site up to the top, and that's maybe even how you found us, so thank you for looking that up. But okay, how do I get my band signed? Okay. Now, even I'm not immune to CAPTCHA codes. Okay, so I typed in how to get my band signed in the Google AdWords keyword tool. This is really designed for AdWords, but anybody can use it. Ranks how these things rank. Admittedly, that's a pretty crappy phrase I used, and I would have gotten slapped for that. How do I get my band signed only had 110 views on average per month. That's pretty bad. But you can actually search it, of course, by what they suggest you maybe should rank for instead. So instead of how do I get my band signed, Google says, hey, wait a minute. Do this one. How do I get signed? Ah, okay. It has 3 million searches a month. Well, that makes a little more sense, doesn't it? I mean, after all, if we're trying to get people to find our band, wouldn't we want to use a keyword that's actually used? And the answer is, well, duh, of course. But I'm even more concerned about this. This is called competition, which is kind of self-explanatory. It's how much competition there will be to try to rank for that keyword. And you'll find that the ones that have low competition usually have very, very poor results when you type in that phrase. In other words, people have not tried to rank for these, that's why the competition is low. You can check back with your economics courses from high school to remember that there is a supply and demand, and when you're competing with people, it becomes more and more difficult. But at the same time, everything becomes higher quality, and that's the same thing with results. For that reason, I think that these top ones here are probably good investments for people looking to try and rank for these keywords. They have low competition and very, very high return. That is why this stuff gets me so excited. This is, once again, this is a sitting duck. We could blow this thing out of the water. Now, let's use an example of something that's not very smart. Let's say I start a shoe company and I type in the word shoes. Unless you're delusional and or own a multi-billion-dollar company, you're probably not going to rank very high when it comes to the word shoes. And Google made sure we were reassured of that. Shoe has extremely high competition, and it has over 55 million results. Now, of course, if I go to Google, let's try that again. If I go to Google and type in shoe, we're going to get very, very specific and very high-end results. Zappos, Macy's, all this stuff. Okay, clearly that makes sense, but let's use how do I get signed. Look at how skewed and all over the place these results are. I mean, we're getting Yahoo Answers, we're getting Young Money HQ, we're getting WikiHow, we're getting blogs, which by the way, I'm going to mention blogs is very important, but we'll get to that in a second. All this random stuff. So that kind of demonstrates in a practical sense why some things are more competition based than others. So let's suppose we actually want to type in something that has to do with our band name. This goes a little bit beyond the scope of what we're trying to do in the search engine because, let's be honest, most people don't rename their band to rank in the Google search, but I suggest that might actually be a good idea. I don't know. I mean, I used to be in a band called Platinum Arrow, so if I type in Platinum Arrow, you might find that the competition is pretty low. Obviously it is. There's not a lot of searches having to do with it. Google did its best to try and find out what we were talking about. It's mostly credit stuff, banking and what have you. But the reality is that that's probably not the best thing to search for because most people aren't going to type in Platinum Arrow if they're looking to find rock bands. You can do location searches too. Albany, New York, techno. And this doesn't even turn any results, so I mean, to be honest with you, that's probably a good one. This is a very, very fun thing to do. If not for any other reason than you can research your demographic and how you can target it for free. It's totally free. This stuff is amazing. I can't believe how this stuff is so accessible. It's a lot of fun to do. I recommend everyone go on there and try to look up keywords. Now, there are certain things that you maybe would try to rank for. For example, if you want to say, I'm the best country band in Nashville, I type in Nashville country band, you might get some high competition. You'd be surprised, though. There's hardly anyone who searched for Nashville country band. So do some research. Find out what people are searching, and then from that you can actually go to the next step and see how to exploit that, so to speak. I mean exploit in a good way. The word kind of has a negative connotation in today's intellect, but use it to your advantage and see what you can come up with. Now, how do we do this? Once we pick a keyword, how do we help people get to the next level on Google? There are certain things that are inherently extremely difficult to try to promote. I know, for example, if you're in a rock band, we type in rock music, you might want to type in the name of a band that sounds like your band. So, for example, if you want to target, 20-year-old men who like Stone Temple Pilots who live in, the state of Washington, that might be easier than saying I want people who like music. But at the same time, there's a lot of competition for Stone Temple Pilots. Again, just make sure you know what people are searching for. If they're searching for that band, chances are they don't care about your band. So for that reason, I don't think that's usually the best thing to try and rank for. Anyway, that's a huge introduction to Google AdWords. It's a lot of fun, and I recommend that everyone tries it. I think in future videos I'll really get into this because this is just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. You can export information, you can do analysis, what if. There's all these tools that you can use. You can use the ad preview, and It's a gold mine. There are a few sites that we can help to rank your site, ones that are worth a lot. I mentioned that we're going to do blogs. WordPress is huge. Basically, Musical Dark Horse will go out there and help you submit press releases out from WordPress and also onto real press release sites. For example, Musical Dark Horse, my company, which you would think I'd be able to spell, but Musical Dark Horse, when you type us into the search, every single result is about me. Which, I mean, honestly, that's what I want to have happen. I worked hard for that. So you can see these are all about me. If I go to news and type in Musical Dark Horse, you'll see that our SEO, or I'm sorry, our press release, which came out yesterday, is on Google News by SB Wire. I'm not going to limit that to me. I want you guys to be able to have that power too. So I can definitely help you by submitting a press release on Google News, which Google News is obviously important. And the sites rank accordingly. That boosted us up so high. Just as a little side note, we actually had so many email inquiries, I couldn't even get to them. We had to basically have an automated message saying we'll get back to you next week because I have so many emails right now. So to sum up so far, we've talked about keywords, we've talked about the value of certain sites, which I think is very important to know. We've talked about link back sites and how Google ranks depending on the quality of the links, not so much the number of the links, which you'd be surprised. A lot of people will rip you off by saying they're going to have 10,000 links to your site, and they're completely worthless links. I despise those people. And we've also talked a little bit about AdWord key searches and keywords, rather, and how you can use that to help you find things that you can rank for. We also offer social media promotions, and this is Facebook and what have you, Facebook and YouTube. YouTube actually is pretty similar to Google in the sense that it does rank depending on the link backs, not so much views. So if I type in Gangnam Style, you would of course expect to see Gangnam Style the video as number 1, but number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Look at how the views are kind of random, right? Like, again, shouldn't something with more views be ranked higher? You might think, but in reality, no, because these apparently have higher quality links back to the video. So I guess that just about wraps up the intro as to why you would want to SEO your site and how you could do it. Again, we offer complete SEO packages where I will literally, help your band reach new heights on Google and get more fans. We've also had extreme luck with Reverb Nation and these sites, like some of these Web 2.0 sites. And we can drive traffic real hard. Again, this is organic traffic. We do this naturally. To be honest with you, one of the significant disadvantages to doing that, I will admit, is that it does take a while. Sometimes this can take a month or two, but it always works. We've had bands jump from page like 16 to number 1 and 2. And I'm always happy to say that most people come back and keep doing it because they see results. They really see results. So again, this is David Lombardo. I'm available, davidlombardo.com. I run a company, Musical Dark Horse. We are a company based out of Albany, New York. We've had over 1,000 clients, all very happy with what we've done. And I think you will be too. We make sure everything is clean, organic, it's neat. It will not blacklist you. You can look up sandboxing and all this crazy stuff of people who are afraid to do this type of thing. It will not happen. We offer the real deal. So I hope this gave you kind of an insight as to how we do it, what we do. And if you're looking for information, you can request a quote. Again, it's davidlombardo.com, and our email is located there. Thank you very much. Have a good day, and happy promotions.